Bang! Neeves Knives, I'm Jared, and today we are checking out the new Microtech ULTRATECH Zero Blade Play. Now, Microtech's been working on this for a very long time because up until recently, only one other company's ever been able to achieve a double action automatic out the front knife that had no play in the blade. Now, all other companies have never been able to achieve that. They all needed a little bit of movement in the blade, some more than others, in order to function properly. Now, it doesn't make them weak or anything like that, but Microtech was determined to create their own system within their OTF that has no blade play. So we're going to check out whether or not this actually has zero blade play, and we're going to see who's this knife for and what would it be good at.
Why do they doubt the kid? I'm about to prove them all wrong again. I got a low tolerance because they don't even know what the problem is. It's me. You waiting on the boy to fail. Now hold your breath and face your death, because you play a roulette with each step. I progress no less. Go ahead and place your bets, because we know where we at. We know we time.
So first off, when I grab it, so let me say this, when I first opened it up, right, it came, in the Microtech box, beautiful packaging, USA made, 100% USA made, love to see that. It was very cold, but I wanted to try it really quickly. I wanted to try it. So I opened it up a few times. I did, spark it a few times, and it did have a little play. It had a little play, and it actually came off track a couple times. But I know that it was very cold. So with any type of machining, especially when you get to, it doesn't matter the tolerances, but when you're talking about the level of tolerances something like this goes, there's expansion and contraction. And in the cold, it's going to contract.
Ordinarily, I wouldn't mind. But
what?
Well, I just got back from swimming in the pool, and the water was cold.
You mean shrinkage?
Yes! Significant shrinkage.
Even in construction, right, which our tolerances are nowhere near what this would be, you still have to, think of that. Like if you're hanging vinyl siding, depending on the temperature and depending on the season you put it up, you have to determine if it's going to grow in the next season or shrink, so all those factors come into play, and that's probably what happened here. However, after I, let it warm up, I opened and closed it a bunch of times. It did misfire a couple times, but then I put oil in it. I'm just adding this in because I realized I said oil, and I want to make it clear, do not use just regular knife oil on your OTFs. They will gum up and it will not work. You want to use something specific for OTFs like this from Heretic, or, you can use like WD-40 in a pinch, but you want a dry lube. I'm not sure, maybe this was a test one because they did send it to me, by the way. But I let it open and close a bunch of times before I tried it, and then I checked it. So holding down here, I have zero blade play whatsoever. It is rock solid, bank fault solid. When I grip up here, I can get the smallest amount of movement, and it's so small that I couldn't even get a sound out of it. I mean, it's very, very small. Now, going this direction where I'm bending like this, I don't feel anything, maybe a tiny, tiny, tiny bit. But when I go this way, back and forth this way, that's when I feel it, but only up here at the tip, which is going to be the most leveraged area, is going to be right up here. But right here, nothing. Right here, I start feeling a little bit, and then just more and more as I get up to the tip. Now, I know people are going to be like, oh, well, that's not zero blade play. And I would agree. That's not zero. Now, I still, because first of all, they probably would just tell me to send it back to them and they'll fix it. But that's most likely what they're going to say or do, which that to me is awesome. So like that doesn't make it bother me, because I personally, for me, and I say this all the time, I've said this for years on the channel, I don't mind if there's an issue or if there's a small problem. I care about what the company does about it. That's it, because I understand that things happen. Things happen, and you can't make everything perfect. Even if 99% of it is, there's still going to be that 1%. So no problem, right? I deal with so many knives that it's likely I'm going to have an issue. I just want to know that the company's going to deal with it, and I have no doubt Microtech would. Now, the amount of movement is so insignificant, like it is. A lot of people would grab it and be shocked how solid it feels. You know, but when you mention the word zero, you know, I got to say, it's not zero. It's absolutely not zero, but it is very close to zero. I'll say that. Does that make me like it any less? No, it's a little disappointing for sure. But like I said, I have no doubt that they're going to take care of it. And then, you know, hopefully that, because I did get the feel, and I should have said this from the start, I did get the feel when it Blade HQ, and it absolutely had zero blade play. I cranked on it, I grabbed it, I felt nothing. So I was very, very happy to see it, which made me enthused, or it made me excited to try this one, you know, to have one of my own. So, you know, now that that's out of the way, I don't think that that's, you know, going to be any issues. It hasn't, ever since I lubed it, it has not misfired for me. But, you know, it did misfire a few times. I have not stabbed it into anything yet. I haven't done anything before I checked it because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't, like, using it. So if I show any use in this video, it was way after I tried, you know, the play and talked about it. So I would have been filming that after this, if that makes sense. So anything you've seen in the video of me using the knife was filmed after this, and then just added in as B-roll. But yeah, person that's going to carry this type of knife, or this knife in particular, one, it's going to be obviously somebody who probably can carry an OTF in the state or the place that they're in, which in my opinion should be everybody and everywhere. But somebody who's looking for a mostly self-defense knife to some degree, right? A lot of people would argue, well, folding knife's not a self-defense knife. You want to use a fixed blade. And I would agree for the most part. But that doesn't stop this from being absolutely devastating and lethal. These things are very strong when they're locked open. I've seen them hammered through tables. You know, you're not going to have to worry about it closing on you unless if you hit the actuator. And if being double-edged, you know, you can swipe back and forth. And being this type of blade shape, this is going to go in like butter. This is something that if a bulletproof vest did not have a metal plate and it was just like Kevlar, it would go right through it. So I'll tell you what, if you're trying to stick somebody's hand to a table, like, you know, a poker game gone wrong, it's going to do that exceptionally well. If you ever do misfire it into something and it does not deploy all the way, and now it is out of battery, so to speak, all you got to do is flick your wrist. So grab it like this and just flick out really hard, and it'll be right back. So it's very easy to do. Just a good flick of the wrist, it will lock back out. You know, this is something that can be very, very, you know, deadly. You know, especially in the right hands, or not even in the right hands, to be honest. Now, that being said, you know, you could carry a lot of different knives for that reason. This knife is not going to be the most practical for EDC, meaning, you know, for breaking down cardboard, cutting zip ties and straps and things like that, right? But opening packages and just little light duty cuts that you might make during the day at any point, you know, it'll be just fine. You do want to be a little careful with the tip, even though it is thick and robust, because that is something, because it's not going for slicing, it's going for, you know, strength, especially at the tip, because it wants to be able to poke. You can see how thick it is. It is pretty thick. So even though it does have that thickness there, the tip is still very, very, very acute. So if you're picking at things with the tip, be warned, it will chip off. So, you know, depending on how important it is for you to have a super sharp tip, you know, will depend on how much you use it like that. But if you know how to sharpen and you know how to do things, you know, with sharpening devices and tuning your edge up, if you did use it, you know, you can make sure you're tuning your edge up, make sure you're honing it back. If tip did break a little bit or micro chipped off, you could easily sharpen it back without an issue. You know, and that's why I always encourage people, if you're going to carry a knife for self-defense and use it, you need to know how to sharpen. You need to know how to maintain your edge, because the last thing you want to do is do the 99.99999% of things you're going to typically do with a knife, and then when that 0.0001 chance happens where you need to deploy it and use it for something, you don't want to know that it's dull, has a broken tip, and just has, you know, has all these issues. You want to know it's going to be ready for action every time it opens up. Now, really quick, here is Microtech Hera picked up, the Hera Mini. You can see the size difference. It still has the ceramic ball. This one has, you know, a light actuator, so if you're going to get one for a female, this is a good one. It's also good for guys, too. I'm not making it seem like it's not. Then we have an axial here. This one's has given me, there you go. See, it's giving me some issues. I just lubed it up, and when I lube it up, it will work, but then it always goes back to misfiring, especially if I just let it sit and then I pick it up. This one was the one from Zach in the Wild. His, you know, it was a limited edition one. I'm not sure if they did another run of these or not, or if they're gonna. Awesome knife. I wish it didn't have some of the issues it has. And you know, I've mostly gotten it out when I oil it, but I have to keep it really oiled. And then here is the Kershaw live wire. And this one is not double-edged, but it is a dagger-style blade. So this one would be a little bit more EDC friendly in a way, but this one, you know, both of them would be devastating. But yeah, very, very awesome, very cool knife. They do have other blade shapes with this. Microtech has an amazing selection of OTX. I also have the Heretic Manticore buoy, which is, this is Anthony Marfione, so from Microtech, and then this is his son's company, Heretic Knives. Awesome to see, father and son, you know, staying in the same business. Love, love, love to see that. Me and my dad did the same thing with construction and stuff. Obviously, he never did YouTube or anything, you know, but anyways, yeah, there you go. You can check that out next to that. Beautiful knife right here. How would you carry something like this? And, you know, like I said, somebody's most likely going to carry this for something they either want to use as a self-defense knife if they needed to, or possibly an EDC knife, but most of the stuff they're doing is just light-duty little cuts. They're not, you know, doing serious amounts of cutting, just little stuff here and there. You know, you could carry it in your, and by the way, it does have a reversible clip, so you could carry it in your non-dominant hand. Like, let's say you carry a firearm, you want to carry, you know, on your dominant side, you might want to carry this on your non-dominant, so you have one on one side, one on the other. If you ever have any issues, you know, you can use the other hand. But, you know, just depending on what you carry on you and so on, you know, obviously it's going to go right in the pocket real easily. You can carry it in the back pocket, the front pocket. Not much for like the fifth pocket. It's a little too big for that. You know, obviously you can carry it in bags, stuff like that. I don't think I need to say that. But yeah, it's a good tool to have. I recommend everybody carry a knife, man. Everybody should just have a knife on them. Negatives, let's talk about some negatives really quick. So one negative is, you know, we have a tiny, tiny, tiny hint of movement. Not significant, but it is there. I do feel it. Like I said, when I'm down here, you know, you don't really feel it. Maybe a tiny, tiny bit, but anyways, so that would be obviously a negative when it's called the zero blade play. But like I said, you know, Microtech would probably take care of that. And, you know, so then is it an issue? No, not anymore. Not after, you know, if they deal with it. We'll see, you know, what happens. But other than that, you know, they have TA hardware all the way around. I love the profile. I love a double-edged dagger. I love this blade shape. Some of my favorite blade shapes are spear points, harpoons, bayonet-style blade shapes, which, you know, they do, and, you know, and daggers. So, you know, like I said, man, it's a good looking knife. It's an attractive knife. I love the flare with the fuller and the holes. All in all, I don't really have any negatives. I even like the way they did the plunge grind here, because the plunge grind basically plunges to about right there, and then all of this is sharpening life. So you're going to be able to sharpen this with zero issues of hitting, you know, down here in the plunge grind area, especially if you're careful. But all in all, you know, I think it's an awesome knife. I do think it's an awesome knife. I do think it is as solid as you can get next to being an absolute bank vault, right? So hopefully, you know, we'll get to try another one, or you know, see if, you know, they'll take a look at it and see if they can't, you know, work that out. Because I gotta give them some respect here, because I understand tolerances, and I understand, you know, to the degree of which to make this the way they wanted is on another level of precision. To machine things, to move like this, but not to have movement, to have it free flowing, but yet to be solid. That's tough, man. That is tough. You know, we're talking about like to a crazy amount of like, I don't even know what thousandths their tolerances are to. I have no idea, but it's obviously at the most extreme level of tolerances and fitment, and you know, yeah, incredible work for them to do that. It's hard to respect something like that without understanding how machining works and how parts move, and how, you know, they sometimes need a little bit of room. Well, most of them all need room to move, right? If things are stuck together, they're not going to be free flowing, right? So yeah, definitely much respect to Microtech. There you guys go. Work hard, stay tough. Until next time, peace.